Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Heather Castle. I'm with the Washougal School District. I'm an instructional coach for the district, and I'm going to introduce our panelists that we have here today. So first is Jen. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Heather, I'd be happy to. My name is Jennifer Tennican. I'm the director and producer of the movie Hearts of Glass, and I live and work in Jackson, Wyoming, and I've been telling community stories and doing documentary filmmaking here since 2002. And this is my Hearts of Glass is my third film that I've made in this community and that has been broadcast on PBS.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
Dre, could you please introduce yourself to us?
My name is Dre Este. I live in Jackson. I work at Vertical Harvest and have been for 5 years. And yeah.
Welcome. Johnny, you're up next.
I'm Johnny Feifels. I lived here in Jackson since '93, and I worked at Vertical Harvest since its opening.
Welcome. Thank you. Shelby.
Hi, my name is Shelby Langston. I'm a former student of the Washougal High School, and I work at Best Western. I work in laundry.
Thank you. Welcome. And Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily. I am the director at Columbia Ridge Senior Living here in Washougal.
Thank you all so much for being here today. We really appreciate you coming and discussing this film with us. We also have with us tonight Les Brown. He is with the Washougal School District. He's the communications and technology director. So if any technical issues happen, he is here to help us, and we are so glad he's here. Jessica Nichols is also here with us today. She's with the Washougal High School Adult Transition Program. She's a teacher on special assignment, and she will be gathering any questions that you have. So please add them to the chat and we can get those answered for you today. This film was made possible through a generous grant from the Camas Washougal Community Chest, and we wanted to thank them. We are recording this panel discussion, and it'll be available for viewing on the Washougal School District website after. We appreciate your support for this project, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. So we're going to have a discussion about our community and the greater inclusion of all individuals of our community today. So first up for all the panelists, we're going to talk about what was one scene or moment in the film that kind of stood out to you, and why did that stand out to you? So to start us off, maybe Jen, could you start us off with maybe your thoughts on it?
Sure. It seems egotistical to talk about the most resonant scene in my own film, but for me, I think one scene is when Ty's father talks about kids with disabilities, young adults with disabilities falling off the cliff after high school. I think for me, as a person who does not have a family member with a disability, didn't go through the school system, I wasn't aware that people had some extra years that they could get support in school and participate in transition programs. But it's clear that we need to kind of step up the game around, the transition to meaningful work and an inclusive employment where people are paid a fair wage. So I thought that was really important. And when a lot of people talk about the film, they do mention that.
Thank you. Emily, did you have something from when you viewed it that you kind of stood out to you the most?
Yeah, one moment really stood out to me as someone who runs a business. When Caroline said that a lot of times her employees that are living with disabilities show up her temporary workers. and bring the standards higher. That really hit home with me.
Yeah, yeah. Was there something, Dre, that stood out for you in the film?
Yeah. Every time I watch it, it kind of pulls on my heartstrings a little bit to see how far Ty has gone. Just knowing him for as long as I have, just seeing where he started in the tomato floor and where he is now is really, really important and cool for me to see.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny? Was there something that stood out to you from the film?
Oh yes, I own a Shining Armor costume. I wore it to kids' birthday party. I performed at kids' birthday parties while wearing it.
Nice. Awesome. Shelby, was there a moment that stood out for you?
If I remember this correctly, I believe it was at the very beginning of the film that people with disabilities are being paid at competitive wages.
And
that's
that
what
meant
stood
a
out.
lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. For me, I thought that just showing how this was a real business was probably the biggest moment for me, when they showed that, yeah, they did have some trials and some errors. I thought that was really important too, to highlight. So Emily, what do you believe that Vertical Harvest, or being a partnered business, gained through the practice of hiring people with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities? What do you think, as you being an owner, not an owner, but a community member, a director in this community, what have you gained from hiring?
I think we've a lot of what we've gained is joy. Having students from Jessica's class come in and developing relationships for our residents. Just emotionally, that's what we've gained. As a business, we have people who have come from Jessica's classrooms and worked for us have been able to really focus on certain tasks. And it's, I'm not explaining this very well. They've been able to come in and focus on certain tasks and provide focus on those tasks that maybe somebody else might not necessarily think about focusing on.
And you talked about like some things that maybe your residents gained. What were some of those things that your residents gained from having all of these individuals come into your facility?
Our residents have gained community connections, being able to, the intergenerational connection, talking about new things that are coming out, learning about technology, having a person able to sit with them and look at their iPhone. We have a lot of residents with iPhones that don't necessarily know how to use them, but we have been able to have somebody sit with them and take that time, because they know even more than I do.
That's awesome. Jen, what do you believe that Vertical Harvest has gained?
Well, I mean, they've gained a really dedicated workforce. I think, you know, the inclusive part seems to benefit not only, you know, and this is the eye-opening part for me, it not only benefits the business, or not only benefits the people with disabilities and their families, but it also benefits the business, and it benefits the community at large. So I think, you know, getting people away from thinking about employing people with various disabilities as charity, or it's the right thing to do, like let's help these poor people. It's a non-constructive place to come from. We all know that when we're supported people of all abilities can contribute, and most people do want to contribute. And I think this business, because it's been very high profile, it obviously combines a lot of innovative technology. It's in the most, sort of radical environment you could put an indoor farm. And, it's got a lot of press, and it's replicating in different places around the nation. So it's nice to sort of draw attention to that it's everybody pulling together, and it's a business that, has a lot of community impact.
That's amazing. And don't forget, if anybody out there has a question that they want one of the panelists to answer, all you need to do is put it in the chat, and we have somebody monitoring the chat, and they'll get that question answered for you. Shelby, tell me, what do you like most about your job that you have right now, and why do you like it the most? What about it makes you like it?
Well, what I like most about my job is all my coworkers. Like, they are so sweet and kind and caring, and I just love my job in general.
That's awesome. Johnny, what do you like most about your job, and why?
Let's see. Well, I get to travel. I've been to Washington, D.C., Chicago, Nevada Valley, California.
That's amazing that you get to go to all those different places.
Going to Maine.
You're going to Maine?
Yeah, Portland, Maine.
Oh, Portland, Maine. That's awesome. When do you get to go there?
Sometime next year.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So just to give a little context, some of what Johnny's talking about with the travel is involved with the film, but also with the business. Even though I'm an independent filmmaker, when we do these presentations, it's also about sharing what Vertical Harvest is doing. So some of them are conferences, some of them have been film festivals, and then Portland, Maine is where they are replicating Vertical Harvest. They're breaking ground in the summer.
Awesome. Dre or Jen, this one's coming to you. In town, how hard is it to match people with available jobs? Did Jackson have the same challenges before they started Vertical Harvest?
Jen, you want to take this one?
I'm not sure I'm the right person, but I think sort of a bigger question, sometimes people want to know, so I think, Emily was talking about a discovery phase that often happens with transition work, where, you're working with students to see what their interests are, what they'd like to pursue, and how that might match up with employment opportunities. I will say, I'm sure before Vertical Harvest really got off the ground, I don't think there were a lot of people in our community saying, I really want to work in a high-tech hydroponic greenhouse. I don't think that was happening. But and we have a really robust tourist economy here. So fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of the jobs are often low-paying service jobs. It's not uncommon that people of all abilities have 2 or 3 jobs that they're working at a time. I think people were, to make Vertical Harvest come to life, and the 8-year process of bringing it from concept to reality, there was a lot of work getting community on board and building coalitions. So, Johnny probably heard about it 6 years before it started. Ty's parents and Ty heard about it. I think Ty made his parents drive him past the construction site every day for, a year and a half. People were super excited about this happening. And I think the benefit is that even if you're not interested in being a hydroponic farmer or being part of the food system for your community, there are transferable skills that folks can learn there. So I hope that answered it in some way.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dre, what areas of growth have you experienced in your own employment at Vertical Harvest?
Being forced to participate in panel discussions where you have to answer questions like this.
Yeah.
I mean, just that, like, it's hard to say because, like, I know it, I experience it, but it's hard to know where I began. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's taught me leadership, and it's taught me more empathy and just to not assume, and creative problem solving.
Yeah.
That's, I think, my biggest transferable skill that I've developed at Vertical Harvest. I've had the opportunity to, with Vertical Harvest, like, we are the first in not only the country, but like the first of its kind in the world. We're starting from scratch. So we're all able to, like, build systems and see if they work and test them. And it's really cool to be a part of. So
It is. It's
every day.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. I really think that it's amazing. It's amazing what can be done there. And I had no idea, before watching the film, that any of that was even possible. I don't even know that I heard of hydroponics before I watched the film. So I think it's an amazing thing that, to bring to every community. I would love to bring it here. Jen, you talked about it coming to other places, and is it coming to other places in the world or in the United States, or?
Dre and Johnny might know more about the plans than I do. I'm going to let you guys take a whack at it first, and then if there's something you missed, I'll jump in.
Johnny mentioned Portland, Maine. That's where the first one's breaking ground. And Johnny, do you know of any of the other greenhouses that are coming?
Well, there's Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's that one.
Yeah.
Are there any others that you know?
There's Chicago.
There's going to be one in Chicago. And I think there are more, but those are the ones that I have too. Do you have?
I think there's one in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I've gone to Philadelphia.
So in Vertical Harvest plan for world domination, they have a very ambitious schedule of opening 10 within the next 5 years. And they're often co-located with affordable housing or in a mixed, the one in Maine will be in a mixed use development. So they're super, super interesting.
That is so interesting. I can talk about this all day. Remember, if you have a question out there in the audience, we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So if anything at all pops up in this discussion at all and you want to know something, please ask it in the Q&A in the chat area there.
If you're a student or a teacher, we'll give you extra credit.
Jen or Dre, how have you seen families impacted by the inclusive mission of Vertical Harvest? How have you seen them impacted by this?
You want me to start, Dre? Or you want to go?
Start? Yes, please.
Okay. I'll just, a lot of the parents of the young adults and older adults with disabilities who are working at Vertical Harvest, I do feel like you see a sense of relief. We all care deeply about our children and the future, and we're all aging, as sad as that is. And I think it's something on a lot of older parents' mind. Ty's parents are probably in their late 60s. They're in good health, but I think you want to know that your child or adult child has a place in the community, and I think that's one thing that's been a relief, because it shouldn't be the burden of parents and siblings, or it's burden is the wrong word, responsibility, right? this, like, we care for our community, this equity that, should, run across the community. So I think that's one thing that I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. Dre, did you have anything to add?
No,
Okay.
I mean, I was gonna say a similar example of Ty's parents specifically. Just, yeah, Jen said it very well.
Sorry, I still yours. Can you just repeat the question one more time?
How have you seen families impacted by the inclusive mission of Vertical Harvest?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, talking about the parents is one thing, but also talking about the employees is another thing. It's just, I've seen folks' self-confidence grow. I love Vertical Harvest kind of holistic approach to it's not only it's personal development, it's professional development. Caroline Croft Este, who's in the film, is the human resource director and now has a different title as inclusion, head of inclusion, inclusion mama. I don't know what she's called. Something like that. But just this sort of multi-prong approach to everyone's sort of evolution from both a personal perspective and a work perspective that I think is very beneficial.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Anybody, maybe Emily, this one should go to you maybe. What advice do you have for our Washougal community to create opportunities for individuals of varying abilities?
The first piece of advice I would have is to start with a meeting with the Washougal School District and talk about the students that they have in the class that year that are looking for the opportunities. And then the next step when you are making the decision to hire somebody from that transitional program or from the community anywhere else is to create a job description around that person and not necessarily around the tasks. I've noticed we had a couple of students here and they were really, really great at certain tasks and not so great at others. And even though a job description might include both of those tasks, be aware that this one needs to go to this person and this task needs to go to this person. So being fluid with that. Really engage with the person and use the resources at the high school, the program when you're hiring them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Johnny, this one's for you. We know you had jobs prior to working at Vertical Harvest. What was your job searching experience like? Were you working part-time or full-time before you were working for Vertical Harvest?
I'd say part-time. My first job was working as a box folder at Domino's.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to own a restaurant called the Old Town Grill and Fish Market. So that was my second job. And my third job was at Eddie Bauer. My responsibilities included inventory. Inventory, yeah.
Okay. All right. And now do you work full-time or part-time for Vertical Harvest?
Full-time.
Full-time. That's amazing.
But this isn't my first time. My first time working full-time was at the El Country Inn.
Okay. And what did you do there?
I did housekeeping.
Okay.
And laundry.
Okay. Wonderful. Shelby, this one's for you. How many different jobs have you had in the Washougal area since you graduated?
Oh gosh. I had how many different jobs is the question?
Mm-hmm.
So I've had 2 so far.
Okay. What what do you wish everyone in town knew about you and the other students who are a part of that program? Do you have anything
I'm
you
sorry.
wish that people knew about you in the Washougal area? What do you want people to know about you?
What I want people to know about me is that I'm like willing to help, and I'm kind hearted, and I'm not easy to anger.
Those are all great qualities. Nice job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dre, how has seeing the experiences and the successes of vertical harvest affected the way that transition programs or employment support programs in the Jackson area are run? Has vertical harvest changed anything there for you guys?
That is a really good question. I think that it's changed the idea of community, and it's put the it's like put, I don't know. I honestly don't know. We're just in our little vertical harvest bubble, but I do think that it's set an example. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I remember, I think, Caroline said that, people would come up and, other businesses would come up and say, I'd never thought about this before, or, I'd really like to know more. And there is a nonprofit that has spun off of Vertical Harvest that is really about educating businesses in the community around inclusive employment. They and Vertical Harvest are completely separate now, but it sort of grew out of this experiment of inclusion, and they're doing a great job as that separate organization. Cultivatability is their name. And they're running all sorts of webinars and programs and sharing resources about inclusive hiring and best practices, which is really great. But I think, Vertical Harvest really raised the visibility of people with disabilities and the way they're contributing to that business and the success of the business.
Yeah. Shelby?
Yes.
What has it meant to you to acquire meaningful work? How has that affected you to get this meaningful work and to work for Best Western?
What it means to me is that I get to meet new people, and that new coworkers, new guests that come in, everything.
And what do you get to do for those guests?
I get to show them my customer service skills.
Awesome. How long have you been at Best Western?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. I think it's 3 years, 2 years at the least. 2 years.
Okay. All right. 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. Wow. Okay. Shall I just ask you a question, Shelby? I'll ask Johnny the next one. Does that sound good to you?
Yes. That sounds
Johnny,
good.
is there anything that what do you like least about working, and why?
If there's one thing I don't like about working here, it's going to meetings.
So like, is this a meeting or this isn't a meeting to you?
No. It's going to the weekly boost.
Oh, okay. Okay. What do you do in the weekly boost?
We usually sit down. I talk about what we've learned throughout the year. I was just not interested.
Yeah, you're just not interested in that.
Nah.
All right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I
Yeah.
agree. Okay. Dre, transitioning from schools to the workforce, how connected are the staff from Vertical Harvest with the local school communities to ensure that students know about this amazing employment opportunity there?
We're pretty connected to the school system. There is a transitional program at Jackson Hole High School, and a lot we've had before COVID, we had internships at Vertical Harvest from the transitional program, and we also do walking deliveries. So the school will come down to the greenhouse every day and like pick up a cart and do their route. We haven't started it up again yet, but we're planning to next week. So we're pretty involved with the school system.
That's awesome. And you guys get to return to that real soon, you said?
Yeah, next week.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is Vertical Harvest able to employ all interested students?
Eventually they'll get a trial and see if it works out, and then just they'll move within the building and just see if it works out for the employee and the families and Vertical Harvest. So yeah, everybody gets a chance.
Yeah.
I think the thing to remember though is that Vertical Harvest can't be the only source of meaningful, competitively paid employment in the community. I don't care how small our town is.
Right.
And I think it could have been a really unintended consequence of the creation of a business like Vertical Harvest that has sort of a 50-50 mix that slowly it creeps up where it's like 80% people with disabilities, 20, which I don't think personally, and I'm not Vertical Harvest, but I don't think that's a direction that is as effective and efficient as, a better mix of folks. So I think it's important not to take the pressure off of other employers to really think long and hard about how this can help them with, whether it's a reliable workforce, a motivated workforce, people who, have abilities. It's about putting ability to work. And in a town like Jackson, where most people are here, in all honesty, to enjoy the outdoors and, ski and hike and do all of those things, like reliable, motivated employees are always in short supply. So, yeah. It just couldn't fill all the jobs, and there's very low turnover also at Vertical Harvest. People are enjoying their work there. So it's important that there are other sources of employment in the town.
Yeah. And inclusion, that's what we're working towards here, and an inclusive community that incorporates all individuals of that community into it. And I'm glad that we have Washougal High School and the adult transition program to be able to do those things also. So just remember that that's available if anybody out there in the audience would like to get a hold of somebody with the Washougal School District, because they would like to also employ students. Emily, what challenges have you experienced employing individuals with disabilities, and what resources were available to you to help you address those challenges? I know you talked a little bit about that earlier, but is there anything specific that kind of jumps out at you that you could tell us about?
Our building was a training site for the adult transition program before I got here. So I think a lot of those initial challenges were already out of the way before I started working here at this building. But I will say one of the challenges is other coworkers who do not have disabilities, and teaching them how to work with a person with disabilities, and understanding of sometimes what you can and can't say to somebody, because the perception is reality, and people learn differently. Teaching somebody to teach another person is not always easy. if that makes sense.
Yeah. Johnny, what were your experiences in elementary, middle, and high school? And what could have been different or and or improved for you?
Well, my childhood was standard. I spent time with a teacher named Connell Hughes, and she had some other students too. There was Ty Warner, Shane Holton, Colin Grandy. I'm not sure. Well, the rest is history.
All right.
Well, Johnny, were you in classes with both kids with disabilities and kids without, your peers without?
Yes,
Okay.
I was, Jen.
Yeah. See, I mean, for someone in my generation, it's people are growing up with inclusion, which hopefully will help improve things and break down a lot of barriers. But I think these preconceived notions of us and them, which is probably something that we have to deal with on at work. You know, I mean, maybe there should be a little bit of training, and I know Vertical Harvest went through some of this, you know, just how to interact with people, how to support people. And it's not always a linear progression. I know one of the folks at Vertical Harvest who manages, you know, was working with a peer who didn't like to communicate by face-to-face conversations. And when she discovered that they could have email exchanges back and forth to address whatever work issues there were, things worked perfectly. So it is a matter of being open to different processes to make things work. And, you know, just really, I think what Dre said before about presuming competence. You know, how many times have we had, you know, people speak as though, you know, someone's not in the room kind of thing? That's, you know, just being respectful. You know, those are all things that hopefully we don't really have to learn from scratch, but might be nice to be reminded of at work and probably in other aspects of life.
Mm-hmm. Shelby, what about you? Your experiences in elementary, in middle, or in high school, can you think of anything that could have been different or improved for you?
I could think of my middle school years. What could have been changed in my middle school years is that the teachers could have been more helpful, because I was kind of in a combined class with just like kids with disabilities and regular kids. So I didn't always know what to do. So I have always needed that one-on-one support, but none of the teachers really really understood what difficulties I was, you know.
And so having somebody one-on-one would have helped you to just understand exactly what was going on in that class at that time.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. It's helpful to know. Johnny, do you consider yourself a role model for other young adults looking to enter the workforce? What advice would you give others who want to acquire meaningful employment?
Actually, I never thought about that.
You never thought about being a role model to other people?
Nah, but my word of advice is never give up.
Never give up. That is a good word of advice.
Yeah.
But I think you are a role model. I think you need to remember that other people are looking up to you. You know, people that see this film that maybe see themselves in you, they're looking up to this film and they say, Johnny can do it, and I know I can do it too. Yeah. So you are a role model. So you got to think about that.
Yeah. I have a role model of my own. Oh, I used to watch this movie named Shrek. It's about an ogre who rescues a princess to get his swamp back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Distract
Do you
your
feel
role
like
model.
you are helping to rescue other people?
No.
No?
No. But, okay, bad example. No.
But I think you are, though. I don't think it's a bad example. I think you are.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you could be Shrek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
are. You're helping other people and you don't even know that you're helping other people.
Yeah.
And you might have a really thick Scottish accent too. It could be hidden.
It could be. Maybe you're, yeah,
I guess I am, huh?
yeah, yeah. Shelby, what about you? Do you see yourself as a role model for other young adults looking to enter the workforce? And do you have any advice that you could give them? Anybody that want to acquire meaningful employment?
Yes, I do. It's from this movie I used to watch. It's called Meet the Robinsons, and it says, "Never give up, keep moving forward. No
Mhm.
matter what the situation is, you can do it."
Yeah, I agree. And you're a huge role model for this community of Washougal. And we're so appreciative that you're here and that you're teaching other kids about this stuff, because maybe somebody's going to watch this and see, hey, I'm in Washougal. I can be just like Shelby.
And
You're
not
a
to put
star.
too much pressure on teachers, but I bet we all have really powerful memories of a teacher who made a tremendous amount of difference in our life, hopefully on the positive side. I also remember some negative ones with geometry, but but it is that little bit of extra attention, or seeing something in someone that resonates and spending a little bit more time with them, or the encouragement. I think if I ran the world, teachers would be paid a lot more, and it would be a much more highly valued profession. But yeah, I mean, educators can have such a profound influence on people.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Let's see. Johnny and Shelby, what are your future career goals? What do you want to do next? Johnny, you want to go first?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm thinking of, I'm brainstorming fictional characters to make up a series. I'm brainstorming a series.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about a seventh son of a seventh son with autism.
Mm-hmm.
His dad's gay,
Mm-hmm.
and the dad has the dad has a husband from a foreign country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And the dad's husband has kids of his own.
so you're writing this, so you want to be a writer?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
I think you're also illustrating it, aren't you, Johnny? You do a lot of drawings. Yeah. Yeah. I suspect that we'll see this on Netflix one day. Just remember this conversation.
There,
Ooh.
got a lot of characters in mind.
Johnny, I'm so glad that I get to meet you, because I feel like I'm meeting a star. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is mine. The honor is mine.
Thank you. Shelby, what about you? What are your future career goals? What do you want to do?
Well, to be honest, my future career goals is to obtain a third job in the restaurant business.
Okay. So you have 2 jobs right now? Is that what you're saying?
I believe so.
Okay. I think you do. Yes. What's your other
Yeah.
one besides Best Western?
I'd rather not name it,
Okay. Okay.
but it was at a care home facility.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice. Very good. So, Dre, can you give us an update about what's been happening at Vertical Harvest since the filming wrapped up?
Oh boy, the filming wrapped up the first year, so a lot. But one very
Second year, I think.
What?
I think it was we were in the second year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of time. So recently we converted our one of our tomato bays into a microgreen growing area. So we're going to be growing more microgreens and tomatoes, and that just started. We just started seeding this week. I'm not sure the numbers on that, but they are quite impressive. And I'm terrified as the packaging manager to know how much produce we're going to be getting in the packaging room in a couple weeks.
Oh no.
But it's really exciting. And we kept our doors open through COVID. So those
Yeah.
are pretty big.
That's a huge success in itself, I'm sure. What are microgreens? Can you explain that to me? Because I don't really know.
Johnny, do you want to take that one?
I can.
Okay.
They're the miniature versions of vegetables. They're
Okay.
the size of your pinky. But then
Okay. So
Which one?
any vegetable, or do you have specific ones that you're
What's
growing?
special about microgreens though, Feist?
they have more nutrients.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like jam packed with nutrients because they're the baby plant. I can't remember the percentage, but it's around 70 to 90% more potent than normal grown up
Yeah.
vegetables.
The smaller the microgreen, the more nutritious.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So carrots, you said?
Mm-mm.
No, not
No, not carrots.
there's sunflower microgreens. I used to
Okay.
eat those.
But we don't anymore, right?
Yeah. There's pea shoots
Pea shoots. Okay.
I'm very familiar with the
and
pea shoots.
popcorn.
Popcorn.
Yeah. And
Popcorn
vibrant
shoots.
and daikon
Okay.
and some sorrel too.
Yep.
All right. I'll have to check into some of that. I don't know anything about any of that. So I have to check into all of that. That's a lot.
They're extremely flavorful and delicious.
You're lucky because you're close to it all.
I am. I'm even lucky I came by once, and Dre, so we do have a community group that picks up unused food and redistributes it. And they had already been by, and Dre still had a ton of microgreens she needed to give away. So I like took this handful, put it in my trunk, and delivered it to all my friends. So
Took all the peas, which I was very grateful for. It's like,
Yeah.
all of it.
She was just like, take this. I don't have a space for it. Yeah.
The cold room
That's
is
awesome. Shelby, I have another one for you. Are you ready for another one?
Do it.
All right. What is something that a boss or a coworker said about your work that made you feel great?
What my boss has told me about my work is that I'm doing a phenomenal job and keep up the good work. And that just made my day. When I was having a down, rough day, she told me that I was doing a amazing and a phenomenal job.
Johnny, are you ready for another one too?
Yes.
Okay. So what is something that a boss or coworker said about your work that made you feel great?
It's kind of hard to remember.
Think about it, Michael.
I did. A coworker named Emily Churchill kind of likes me reciting movies.
Oh yeah.
I could recite Monsters, Inc. Listen, I need a favor. Randall was working out late in the scareful last night. I'd like the key for the door he was using, please. Well, isn't that nice? But guess what? You didn't turn in your paperwork last night. No paperwork. This office is now closed. Yeah.
The plants
great.
really seem to respond to the whole Disney canon and Pixar canon. Yes.
That was that was one of my favorite scenes because that was pretty funny.
I think that that's a great skill, by the way. So I would agree with that coworker if she likes that you recite those. That's an excellent skill, and I love it. And you sound exactly like Roz. Great job. You did an awesome job.
Well, plus, I don't know if, those of you who've seen the film, it's that kind of ability to act characters is seen in the opening scene where Johnny recounts the story of Vertical Harvest's beginnings, right? With playing the roles on the phone call. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about playing to people's strengths and letting people be creative.
Emily, as far as Washougal goes, at this moment, what is needed to help students or graduates with disabilities? Do you have any ideas for us there?
For COVID to be over, for one. I think we can all agree there. That's a really, really tough question. I think
how has COVID impacted this whole thing?
Well, the adult transition program was doing, I think you were doing distance learning. Is that right, Jessica? And they weren't able to come into our building anymore. We also, as a building, the Department of Health made us close our doors, and we couldn't bring in any additional things unless they were an employee. And then there was a transportation issue with some people that we were employing from the transition program. And then there was some other issues with testing and with exposures. And so that really impacted us a lot. As far as the adult transition program and the students that we employed from that program.
In your opinion, are there enough opportunities here in this town for adult transition program students?
No. I think that we as businesses could be educated more on the opportunities that we have available to us from the high school and from the transition program.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any other? We have about 8 minutes left. So if you have a question, put it in the Q&A for us so that we can get someone to answer that question for you. Does anybody else in the audience have some final questions that they want to get answered that we could answer for you tonight?
I will just say, Washougal, we have never had one. We have never had a virtual event where someone did not ask one question.
We've had a lot of questions. Yeah. So,
okay.
Shelby, what classes at the high school were the most helpful for you to prepare for your current jobs? What classes should we offer in the future to support your employment?
Well, I would say that one of my former teachers, I was in her classroom. It was called Pathways. And then when she left, I transferred over to the Washougal Adult Transition Program. So Miss Sharp and Miss Nichols have done an amazing job at preparing me for my jobs.
And that you think has been the most helpful class to prepare you for your success out there in the workforce?
Yeah, that is correct.
So Pathways was one of them, and then after high school, the adult transition program.
Yes, that is correct.
And Pathways is during your high school years?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other things that you could think of that possibly we could have provided Washougal, as Washougal School District to you that would have been also helpful?
Driving.
Oh, driving. Yeah.
driving classes,
Okay.
learning how to drive, just technically a driving class.
Okay. Johnny, can you think of any classes at your high school that helped you prepare for your current job, or anything that any classes that were offered to you that helped you with supporting you for your employment?
Let's see. I can't think of any right now. I did have a teacher named Terry Royce.
Mm-hmm.
His words of wisdom set me up for success. Terry,
What was it?
I don't know if you're watching, but thank you so much.
What was it that helped you be successful? What was it that teacher helped you to do to be successful?
It's kind of hard to explain, but he did offer us some words of wisdom, which I can't think of right now.
So was that just in high school, or can you tell us a little bit about your college and maybe
that was in high school.
university?
I did take some. I did take. Well, we did some. Let's see. We did intro to. Well, I did take intro to Old Testament in college.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And some sociology.
Okay. So what college did you go to, or what university?
University
did
of
you go to?
Wyoming.
Okay. And what did you get your degree in?
Humanities and Fine Arts.
Awesome. Fine arts, huh? What specifically in fine arts? Was that like drama? Is that why you're so good at all of those things?
No, I meant what? Maybe writing.
Okay.
I wanted to be an illustrator.
Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect.
Heather, we do have a few questions that have popped up.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Dre, in what ways have you grown in your skills and abilities because of your work at Vertical Harvest?
I have grown in how I interact with other people, and just go back to the problem solving. I think it's made me more patient working at Vertical Harvest, and forgot the rest of the question, but
just how have you grown, I think. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I've grown, is in patience, and it's developed my leadership skills. And
and you said leadership and your problem solving and all of those type skills.
And delegation and
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I had that skill. I wish I had that skill.
I definitely don't, but I'm better than I was. So.
Yeah.
And Johnny, we want to tell you, you have some fans, I guess, in the audience, and they want to tell you that they are looking forward to seeing your story in print or on the screen someday. So you're such a big star that we are waiting and anticipating for this story to get done.
I used to, I'm a brony. I watch My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're waiting for that story to be developed and put into print and ready to go.
Yeah.
So Johnny, one more thing. You are very creative. Did your teachers encourage you to develop your skills in writing and acting?
Yeah. Writing? Yeah.
Well, we have really enjoyed everyone being here today. And to everybody, someone wanted to say, all of the panelists, you guys did an amazing job tonight, and that you are all so inspiring to everybody. Sorry, trying to read as I talk to you guys.
We're inspiring, but very slowly. We're slowly inspiring. Yeah.
Inspiring. I
We're
was trying
slow
to
burn.
drag it out. But again, the Washougal community, we are so happy that you were able to come tonight. Hockinson, if you're joining us, we are so happy that you are here. And Camas, if you're joining us, we were so happy that you were here. You can still watch the Hearts of Glass video. It is on this the page there that Les put into the chat for everybody. Visit the website and you can watch it right away. You can also find the link on the Washougal School District website through not January, but June 12th. January 12th would be a long time from now. That would be 6 months of free viewing. And we don't have that in our budget, but that's okay. So we have the Washougal School District website available there. And we also have just the straight link that takes you to the show and tell of the film. So thank you again, everyone, so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you helping bring this awareness of this topic, and we have gained so much from all of you from this talk about inclusivity within our community, and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
And thank you to Camas as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Camas. Thank you, everyone. Washougal, Camas, all of these communities that I now know how to pronounce.
Thank you so much for being here. Johnny's ready to go.
And he's gone.